Hello and welcome to Second Take episode 44. My name is Billy and we are back with another episode today. It's a very big day. It is officially the start of the NFL season, and I don't mean the official start of like the NFL season in like a league year type of way, because we already know that happened. We had that a while ago with the start of free agency. You know, one of the best days in the world for NFL fans. You know, you have this reinvigorated feeling of kind of the hope, the hopelessness that you lost once you realize your team sucked last year. You know, it went away. It's gone. There's newfound faith and hope kind of in this season coming up. Now, the game's finally begun. The Hall of Fame game happening tonight. You're probably listening to this August 4th, I'm guessing, or past that, since I'm recording this very close to the game starting 6 hours away now. So the game is tonight. You probably already know the result. Blah, blah, blah. We're going to talk about it anyways. Don't really care. But this is a huge, huge day for NFL fans, me alike. And today on Second Take, we're going to pretty much talk exclusively about football. Not saying that, there's a lot of other things going on in the world. Lionel Messi, doing really good with Inter Miami, all that soccer stuff. The Saudi Arabian stuff, which I love to talk about. But not going to talk about that today just because, I'd rather, that's more of a writing thing. Quick plug, if you want to listen to, or if you want to read any articles or stuff about possibly that soccer stuff and other football things, sports in general, you can go on medium.com, search up Second Take. You can see all my articles there. Been doing a lot more work on that than I have lately with the podcast. So, check that out if you're interested in any of that. But anyways, let's just get right into some of this football stuff. Obviously, huge day. I'm super hyped up. I hope you guys are hyped up for all this. But since we haven't recorded in God knows how long, we missed a lot of stuff and some free agency stuff that has drawn out really just longer than expected has been the DeAndre Hopkins contract, obviously, after he was released by the Cardinals. Cardinals going in a downhill direction with Kyler Murray injured and people thinking that somehow, Kyler's going to be back by midseason. But people still think that the Cardinals are still going to suck with Shane Steichen. Not Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gannon. Steichen, the coach at the Colts now, both coming from the Eagles. Kind of mixed up there. With Gannon. But I think they're going to be, they're a decent team. They still got a good wide receiver core with Rondale Moore and, a decent little team. The Cardinals O-line, bad. D-line, not very good. They've had talent there, but let it go. Hassan Reddick a couple years ago was gone, has now a solidified very, very good edge rusher for the Eagles. And now, J.J. Watt gone, obviously wasn't a huge factor, but still, a veteran presence there and better than what they have there. Not a great team. Not a great team by any means at all. But, they're going to still have Kyler midseason, and I think you can find far worse teams in the league. I'm pointing to Tampa Bay and other teams like that. And even if the Cardinals were to fall into the, first overall pick, would they really even want to go for a quarterback? Because, we're not talking about the next season's draft, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is right there for the taking. And I'm a big believer in Kyler Murray. He, let me down last season, but was he really set up for success with Cliff Kingsbury being there? I don't think he was head coach material. And I think most people can agree that now. He's the quarterback. He's not even offensive coordinator at a college team anymore. He's the QB coach at USC. Caleb Williams, I believe, is a generational prospect. Yes. Yes, he is. But you also have, Drake May there, which I think Drake May might even be better. And I think we'll see that coming up this year in college. You can quote me on it. I think Drake May is going to solidify himself kind of as a little bit better version of Caleb Williams, and everybody's stuck on Caleb Williams because he has had such a good college career and he has the same measurables as Patrick Mahomes and all that. But I think May just makes better reads. I think overall has the same amount of arm strength. Not as mobile, but as a pure quarterback, I think May has a lot of skills that kind of separate him a little bit from Caleb Williams, especially with Williams playing in a system that benefits quarterbacks immensely, and Drake May playing in a system that is more focused on kind of runners. What kind of tanked Sam Howell down so much is that Mac Brown, has a system that the coach at UNC, Mac Brown, has a system that really focuses on more so on running backs and less so on pro style passing game. Something that Lincoln Riley, emphasized coming from a kind of an air raid system at Oklahoma that he ran, now running that at USC against Pac-12 defenses, which aren't always the best thing, especially compared to ACC defenses, which Drake May goes up against. And if you look at the UNC offense with Sam Howell when they had Javonte Williams and they had Michael Carter, he was putting up tremendous numbers, playing in a system that wasn't a pro style, that was playing a ton of run, and yet somehow he found ways to put up 30 touchdowns a season, still look good. And then obviously had his, I believe, his junior season, junior redshirt season, where it was more so running, which Howell can do very well, and he showed that a lot, but tanked his stock a little bit down. And I don't think May's going to have that. I think May is a better quarterback than Sam Howell. And I think since, not having that running back talent that they had with Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, not saying that they don't anymore, but UNC's kind of adjusted it more to say, okay, we're getting these blue chip quarterback prospects. We got to, run them a little bit. You saw that in the game against Oregon and Bo Nix that they had the bowl game last season with Drake May. You got to pass the ball a little bit more, But I think he can be a better prospect. And I don't think the Cardinals are really going to be in a position with Kyler, even if they have the top 2 picks, to draft either one of those guys. And I don't think they would. Because why would you invest such a big pick when you already have a quarterback that, if he can stay healthy, and that's the question, right? Can Kyler stay healthy? I think he can eventually. First of all, you got to put a good offensive line in front of him, which they haven't invested enough in. It's they have these old offensive linemen that keep getting hurt, and that's not a way to protect your quarterback. And signing guys that are mid-level off the street is not going to be a way to protect your quarterback. Now, trading back and selecting Paris Johnson at the request of Kyler Murray, was a good decision. Even if it wasn't at the request of Kyler, they should have made the pick. Knowing the Cardinals, they probably wouldn't have made the pick if Kyler, their quarterback, didn't say it. So if Kyler still has that say in the front office, right, to select a offensive tackle, do we really think that they're going to, have him hurt most of the season? So they're probably going to lose games. I think Colt McCoy, their backup quarterback. They drafted Clayton Tune. I don't think he's going to start immediately. I think it's Colt McCoy who's still in there. I believe he's going to start a couple games. Might win him a couple, probably not. Tough division. But do we really think that they're going to let a quarterback command that kind of, voice in the front office just to scrap him for another quarterback used with a top pick next year? I mean, I get they are going to have 2 probably high picks because the Texans pick. But, why wouldn't you just keep a good quarterback who hopefully next year can prove he's healthy? And, Marvin Harrison Jr. is right there. One of the best, if he can replicate what he's been doing. Ohio State, it's always going to put out good wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, etc., Jackson Smith and Jigba this past season, who's going to be tremendous. He looks great in training camp. I mean, oh my God. Just dude, the route running on that guy is just insane. But back to the point. Kyler, if he can stay healthy, you can put a good offensive line in front of him. He's going to be a good quarterback. You already invested a shit ton of money in him. So just keep him there invest in those 2 picks. You can go, edge defense maybe on one of those picks, Marvin Harrison Jr. on the other pick, and maybe even invest the other pick, the Texans pick, in possibly getting him another tackle. Protect him on both sides of the lines. Right? Then he has Rondale in the slot. Greg Dortch is still in there, who was proved to be a pretty good wide receiver out there. Put Marvin Harrison Jr. in out the outside. You can rotate him into the slot as well. He's super versatile. You just set him up for success, and that's going to be a good offense, right? James Conner back at running back. Good bowling ball type of guy. Running backs are expandable, as we'll get into later. Big hot button topic, but I just don't see where the media is trying to spin like this Cardinals season of projecting them. And, this all relies on them having a high pick, which I think they'll have a high pick. I don't think it's going to be number 1 necessarily. If they do fall into that, though, people are like, okay, they can't resist Caleb Williams. They can't resist Drake May. They can't resist going for another quarterback despite investing so much money. Ton of guaranteed cash in Kyler Murray. I mean, what's Kyler's contract, right? It's over 200. Let's just pull up the numbers real quick, right? I think he's somewhere around 200 in his extension. Yeah. So starting this year, he's going to starting in 2024, 37 million, 18 million the following year, 22 million, and then 19, and then 34. That's pays him into his age 31 season. So it's not bad. He's getting out of the you get out of the contract right as he's about to hit kind of his early later years. Mobile quarterbacks tend to not last that long, so that's a good exit point. Plus the mid years, this is really, it's front loaded and back loaded, which is interesting. It's 5 years, 230 million total, so there's a lot there. But in 2024, you're getting it out of the way with 37 million. You still have, after this season, this season you're only paying him $2 million, and then it kicks into the contract extension. So why would you want to get rid of him as soon as it kicks in? Plus, the mid years are really easy. 2025, 2026, and 2027, you're only paying him 18, 22, and 19. Like, that's not a bad contract. Like, at all. That's super cheap in the middle. The end years are bad. But the middle years are pretty good. And I think they'll look at that and be like, okay, why would we want to get a quarterback that's probably at a comparable level where you can just and have nothing around him, where we can have Kyler build a really good team around him and kind of, go far there. And really, they have only given Kyler, Hopkins, who we'll get to. And, that got them enough, but you need to build a young team core around him. And he hasn't been able to get that with, the former GM. So, new GM, new regime coming in. Hopefully they can figure that one out. But I don't get the media spin on it. I think it's more overblown just for getting clicks in the summer, which is most of what the media does now, sports media, because you got to fill time, and I understand that. But just looking at it, even as a hypothetical, it doesn't work. There's no shot the Cardinals draft Caleb Williams. There's no shot that they draft Drake May. There's no shot that they draft Michael Penix if he plays really good. There's no shot that they draft Bo Nix if he somehow or Quinn Ewers if they just bounce up draft boards. It's not happening. Not with their first round pick, not with their second first round pick of that next year in 2024. It's not happening. Marvin Harrison Jr. probably could happen. If they got the first pick, Marvin Harrison Jr. should be the first overall pick. No matter pretty much, if he has an okay season this year, he's the first overall pick. That guy is an animal. He's insane. Athletic freak. Crazy route runner. barring injuries, he's the first overall pick. He's the first overall pick, just without a doubt. He is. And Caleb Williams, great quarterback. If a quarterback needy team, the Buccaneers, they look like they'd draft Caleb Williams or Drake May. If they had the number one pick, Caleb Williams, Drake May. If pretty much any other team, you don't need a quarterback. The Cardinals don't need a quarterback. Go for Marvin Harrison Jr. And that was draft talk for next year, I guess, is what that turned into. But I didn't even plan to talk about that. Just ranted off on that. It pissed me off because I just don't see that happening. It's just for clicks. And the people that buy into that, the Cardinals are going to Caleb Williams. Cardinals are going to. What the hell are they going to do with Kyler, who's a perfectly good quarterback? I mean, you trade him for picks, sure, and then you could get even more, young guys in there. But I think just standing pat with what you got is probably the best move than to take a risk. And I don't think it's a big risk with Caleb Williams or Drake May, but stick with what you got. They're clearly, from what they've done in this year's draft, are building to, they're still investing in Kyler. And there's no reason why you'd invest in Kyler on a season that you're not going to do anything if you're not going to carry him into the next year. It just makes no sense. It's idiotic. It's stupid. And they've done that before with Josh Rosen, but I'd like to believe they've learned from their mistakes. And Kyler Murray is not Josh Rosen. He's a good quarterback. He's proven that before, and he'll prove it again. He just needs to stay healthy. That's kind of where it's at. So we'll go to DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins, the sweepstakes between Hopkins, he was waiting for a while. He visited with the Titans. They gave him this whole big,